I guess the first question I'm going to ask you, and maybe you're not asked about this too often, but since we're a hip hop platform, what are your thoughts kind of on hip hop as an art form, and then even further than that, do you have thoughts on Christian rap in particular?
Well, Jeremy, let me tell you a true story. In the 1990s, I am a songwriter, singer-songwriter, Christian entertainer, among other things, you know. And so a rap came into my mind, and I named it Rain Rap. I could not rap. So it was prophesied over me, you're gonna rap. And I'm like, rap is of the devil. I'm not gonna rap, absolutely not. So the song stayed with me. Then I got the bridge towards the turn of the century. Then I finally went into the studio. So let me wrap just a little bit of that to you to answer your question. So, and I had to take rap lessons because I couldn't bounce to a beat. I couldn't do it. I just was terrible. So this is what we came up with. It's silly, this old bird rapping this song. I know they'll be laughing, saying I'm wrong. I'm not afraid of looking a fool. They're not going to get this just going to school. Can't somebody help them, make them understand there's more to life than booty? They need the master's plan. So that's ancient now. It's a little archaic, but it's a Alveda King Latter Rain YouTube. You could see it. So we had singers and all of that. So any creative artistic expression that glorifies God has a genuine purpose and a genuine audience. And God had to teach me that. I'm 71 years old. So I maybe don't listen to a lot of hip hop and I don't listen to as much of it, but I actually like it, to answer your question. And it definitely has a place in the kingdom of God, and it is a now message.
Hey, that's awesome. So everyone got to hear you sing at the award show, and now
Yes.
my audience got to hear you rap. So I don't know what's left. You gonna play the guitar somewhere, or the
I can't play the
the
guitar.
piano maybe?
Not really, except to just get the chords.
Hey, that's great.
But
I'll
yeah,
take
yeah.
it. So I've heard many. It's interesting you said I've heard many stories like that about. First, it was rock and roll is the devil, right? And then the new art form came out, and then hip hop is the devil. I'm not sure what the devil is now in music, but what kind of made that change or that flip that you were like, oh, hip hop isn't the devil. This is okay.
The guy gave me that Latter Rain song, the Rain Rap, which became that. I understood that there are different mediums that can deliver that exact same message. So I began to just even look at the art form, also with tattoos, because a lot of my Christian friends have tattoos. And I would say the Bible really does say don't disfigure or mark up your skin or your face. And then one of my real good friends, Brian Kemper, over Stand True, he says, but it says, write the message on your forehead, write it on your hands. And he said, so I said, what can I say? That really is in the Bible as well. So when people have a different delivery method than I do, I don't challenge it as much or question it as much, as long as the sanctification of it is there. People love Jesus and talk about Jesus as far as that being a Christian style. So that it really will vary, but I like all music except acid rock. And because somebody told me this, and people have experimented, like that hard rock where you bite the head off of bats and do all that crazy stuff. So they said, and it made sense. So if you are playing some of that hard music on those vibing frequencies that are discordant, you can drop a raw egg on the concrete of the stage and it will fry the egg. So my thing is, if it will fry the egg, it will probably fry my brain. So I don't want to do that. So, but any other expressions, I like Christian, Catholic, R&B, pop, all of it. And even if it's not Christian music that's not Christian, but inspirational, that lifts your soul and your spirit, I love that. I really do. But some hip hop is really life building, life affirming.
Yeah.
Like I'm a member of a group that's called Optimist International. Give you a glass with water midway. Is it half full or half empty?
Right.
And from a kid, I've always seen it half full. Something else can go. So as long as what hip hop is doing is affirming and not killing, harming, destroying, then there's nothing wrong with it. Yeah. My daddy, A.D. King, loved music. My uncle Martin Luther King, my granddaddy, my mom used to be a concert singer, and they liked church music. Daddy liked classical music a lot. He just loved that too.
Right. It's funny that there's kind of like a Christian version for everything, even in music. So you have something kind of what you're talking about, maybe death metal or black metal, they call it. But there's a Christian version and they call it light metal. So it's like the darkness and the light. We do the same thing, but it's about Jesus. It's funny how it works that
Yeah.
way. Um, all right. So your grandfather, your uncle, your father, along with countless others, fought to bring equality to America. Obviously, we still have our issues. There's still a lot of things going on every day. What would you say is still kind of the number one issue that has remained unchanged since the 60s, the 50s, and all of that?
We know that life is sacred from the womb to the tomb. So in the 60s, of course, abortion was still illegal pretty much in America. In 73, with Roe v. Wade, abortion became legal. So the sanctity of life from the womb to the tomb, human dignity from the womb to the tomb. So that's the babies, the born babies, the children, the adolescents, the adults, the senior citizens, rich, poor. We are human. Human dignity is important. So when I say human dignity, I want us to consider, like there's a big debate going on now about critical race theory. And so some would like, we're not going to teach critical race theory in school. I say, wait a minute, let's teach critical race theory, but let's teach what it is. Critical race theory comes from people like Margaret Sanger, Planned Parenthood, Charles Darwin, who just says that there's superior people on the planet, and Adolf Hitler. So we know what Hitler and Margaret Sanger did. We know how Darwin acted, saying that there's one race of humans that's better than another race. So there's only one blood. Science says that. The Bible says it first. Of one blood, God made everybody. And then science adds up like that. And with DNA, people are finding now that our ethnicities are just crossed and blended all over the place. So let's teach that critical race theory is racist because it says that one race of people is better than another race of people when there is only one race of human beings. So there is a critical race, the human race. So the abortion issue, the human race issue, not skin color because that's ethnicity. And then all the fighting over human sexuality, for example. And I said, we're not supposed to be fighting each other. We really are not. And the only thing that I'm saying is let's take care of the children. Let's take care of the children in the womb. Let's take care of the children when they're born. Let's take care of the children and get them through puberty to young adulthood before we get all into this sexuality thing. Because, little children, the way they think sometimes, okay, your fingernail breaks off, you clip it, it might hurt a little bit, it'll grow back, right? But if a kid 10 years old says, I want to be a boy, I want to be a girl, and they don't have the biology that fits that, so they say, well, let me just cut everything off. A 10-year-old kid can't understand that it won't grow back. So it's too early to introduce all this sexuality stuff. And so that's my only problem there. And then, the human trafficking, the sex trafficking. So my uncle said we should learn together, live together as brothers, I had as sisters, or perish together as fools. So with compassion, creativity, understanding, listening to each other, coming up with things that protect our weakest, which to me today is still our youngest, whether it's babies in the womb or the little babies who are born. And so that should be a priority. That's a priority for me after proclaiming the gospel of Jesus Christ.
I'm going to ask you a follow-up on what you said about critical race theory. I feel like many people would argue that it teaches, diversity and celebrating, the differences. So what would be, I guess, your pushback to that? Like, how could we actually do that without it? And how does critical race theory kind of push against that?
You cannot take the platform of survival of the fittest, critical race, critical species, all that Charles Darwin came up with, the Sanger Hitler. You can't say, oh, well, let's start teaching that. And then we're going to have diversity and all that. So telling people that they're different because of skin color or financial pocketbooks or, anything else you want to divide over is not going to cause people to unify. So that's why I'm saying if you teach there's a critical race, it's the human race, and the human race can learn to live together as brothers and sisters. That's fine. But that is not what CRT is doing right now. And so it cloaks, it hides the basis and the foundation of it and tries to make something good on top of it with the foundation being muddy.
I got you.
Yeah.
So one of the things that you hear it almost every election cycle, you have the Democrat side who is for abortion, you have the Republican side who's against it, and they always say, hey, we're gonna work to ban it, we're gonna ban it, but it's never banned. So what would need to happen for abortion to actually go away? And once that happens, undoubtedly you're gonna have a lot of people putting themselves in risky or illegal situations to have it anyway, which is what happens when you ban anything, right? So I don't really know what the question is, but I know that there's an answer. Maybe there's an answer here somewhere that you've thought about.
Know that legal abortion did not solve the problem of abortion. It just made people have many more abortions, whereas you had less than 100,000 in a year in America when abortion was illegal. And then when abortion became legal, you have to the tune of almost 70 million legal abortions in America now since 1973. So if abortion is not legal, with no penalty to the mother, of course, if she still goes ahead and illegally has the abortion and stuff, you don't want her thrown in jail or anything like that. I had an illegal abortion and a legal abortion and a miscarriage because the abortions damaged my body. So I'm speaking from a personal perspective as well. So we know that when there are regulations and abortion is not easily accessible and not legal, you won't end up with millions and millions and millions of dead people. Now you want to give options for the people who still are going to get abortions, whether it's legal or not, and make abortion unthinkable. So that when people are faced with the question of whether or not to birth a child, because I hate to say it to mothers, and they get mad with me sometimes. As soon as you conceive a baby, you're a mother. Birthing the baby does not make you a mother. You're a mother the minute the baby's in your womb. Dad, you're a dad the minute that child is conceived. So we're already parents, what we do with that, and we can do a much better job of helping. So legal abortion was never rare. It was never safe. It's just legal, So there's got to be better ways to serve people other than killing them.
Right. Yeah, and I appreciate what you said about, once that baby's conceived. I remember when I found out about my first, when my daughter, we saw the stick and we're like, I'm a dad. And like, I knew instantly there was
right away
there was love. There was love there. Wow. It's, maybe the size of, I used to call her Poppy because they said it was the size of a poppy seed. So that was Poppy for like, a couple of months, and then grows into the mango or whatever other fruit they
my daughter, who was she had to decide, and she did keep her baby, she didn't abort her, but we went to see the ultrasound and she saw the baby hopping across, and she says, look like a crumb. I said, that's the most beautiful crumb I've ever seen in my life. I just went off about the beauty of this crumb. And so the technician is like, who are you people?
The crumb is going to turn into a slice of bread, and then a loaf of bread, and then it's going to come out of the oven eventually.
The baby, a bun in the oven. That's
right.
what we call it sometimes. So yeah.
Right. See, so bread is a perfect analogy for a growing baby. When it's ready to come out the oven, it's ready to go.
It's gonna pop out of that oven. Yeah.
All right. So back to the award show. You received the Unity Award at the We Love Christian Music Awards. Donald Trump introduced you out for the award via video.
Yeah.
It was not something I was expecting at all to see when I got there, because it definitely wasn't on our schedule till last minute. You even sang
Yes,
a little bit, like I said.
I did.
So, what was that whole experience like? Well, let's start with that. What was that whole experience like?
Well, it's so funny because when I heard that he was going to do it, I was speechless for a little while. And I'm a public speaker, so that's hard for me. So I just couldn't fathom it or get it together. And then when I saw it, I had tears because he was just being so genuine. That's the way our relationship is. We're friends. We actually are friends. And I was like, oh my goodness. And then for it to be with a music company that was giving the Unity Award, with me being a singer, songwriter, I'm not so much quote unquote in the industry because I don't do it for full time, but I do write songs and I produce. I've got right now, I think it's on Spotify and everywhere, Your Way, Yahweh, Alveda King, and I'm singing with Kathy Lee Gifford.
Oh, wow.
And then my son has a song that we just produced, Paths, P-A-T-H-S, Paths of Righteousness, Alveda King, Paths of Righteousness. So occasionally I'll do some music or co-produce with somebody. So to be in the music world, with my understanding that music really can unify people. My mom said we can't all talk together, but we can all sing together. You begin to play and the body will rhythmically respond. You may do a little dance, a little sway. And if the words are healing words, don't have to even be church songs, just healing words. Those frequencies will just make a difference in the atmosphere.
The Unity Award, I did see some pushback on social media because people don't necessarily equate Donald Trump with unity. So, for you, why has the word unity become? Well, what do you think of unity becoming such a divisive word?
The evil genies, the evil forces of existence know that when we unify, we get victory. And there's unity, there's victory in civility. There's unity there when we can harmoniously begin to just talk. Maybe not agree, but just talk. And I go beyond, let's just agree to disagree. No, let's agree to try to understand where we're both coming from. And as we do that, and God's not a Democrat, God's not a Republican, God's not an independent, you know. So God, some things are just right and righteous because they are, regardless of political party. So we can come together and we can do that.
Right, and good things can happen, or God can work through maybe a package or a message that somebody doesn't necessarily agree with. It doesn't mean something good can't come out of it, regardless. So
Okay.
we just came out of Black History Month. So aside from the figures that are frequently spoken about, I would love to know maybe some African American innovators or people that everyone should do more research on.
The domestic folks who were the slaves and then the help, quote unquote, many of the inventions that they invented, people should just look up some of the good household things that we have. They came actually from African Americans. And then like Edison supposedly had a black, if it wasn't an apprentice, but somebody who worked with Edison. And just different things that doctors did. And there were African Americans that were helping build America all along the way. The Black slaves helped build the White House, you see. So there are so many stories and testimonies and testaments. And over at America First Policy Institute, where I am the chairman of the Center for the American Dream, for the month of February, we had a different person highlighted every day. And these were known and unknown. So I think it's very important. But Black history is only important because we're playing catch up in the Black community. Many people just don't know how many great things have come out of our community. So we feel sometimes more like victims than victorious. But, this is March. What is it? St. Patty's Day. And it's not an official holiday, but people are excited. And I'm part African, part Irish, and part Native American. So out on our door right now, it says, "Kiss me, I'm Irish." And people say, "No, you're not, you're Black." I say, "But my granddaddy's granddaddy, Nathan Branham King, came from County Cork." So yeah. So,
You're having your corned beef and cabbage too, huh?
yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I put
Yeah.
a big cabbage on my Instagram couple of days ago out of my neighbor's garden. This huge head of
Mhm.
cabbage. Yeah.
You're all ready to go. You got to
Yeah.
represent. But thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate this. Um, it's been an honor and a pleasure to speak with you.
All right. So thank you so much and God bless.
God bless you.
Keep doing that music.
I'm going. I'm going. You too.
Okay. All right. I will.